If you're casting a show, you better do it right, 'cause character traits aren't skinny and white. Hello, I'm Amara Brady, and welcome to the season finale of Skinny and White Aren't Character Traits in This Paper I'll Explain. Before we get started, we need to take a moment to acknowledge that we were not here last Tuesday. We were standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, as we hope you were too. It is so important for us to acknowledge the modern day lynchings, state-sanctioned or otherwise, of Tony McDade, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Nina Pop, Ayanna Dior, and so many others. We want to thank you for taking the time to watch things like this that are hoping to dismantle anti-Blackness and talk about the humanity of Black people. And I want to thank you for being so receptive. Even if you didn't like it and you took the time to watch it and you took the time to talk about why you didn't like it or why you didn't agree with what we were putting forward, I appreciate that. And I get it. New thoughts are sometimes hard to take in. But the fact is that the numbers don't add up. Shows about folks from marginalized identities aren't produced as much as Grease, The Sound of Music, Mamma Mia, Legally Blonde, the list goes on. And if this is what is being produced, we deserve to be considered with our cis, able-bodied, normal-sized white peers, and we shouldn't find ourselves out in the cold or relegated to a token in the chorus because of arbitrary character guidelines. We're trying to create a deeper cultural understanding and create new pathways into the stories for folks who may have never seen themselves in a story. There are shows that depend very specifically on race. Ragtime, Hairspray, Parade, that list could go on and on and on. But shows that are about a human experience should include lots of people who get to have that experience. Not to mention what happens when you start to factor in the erasure of diversity from our history books and from the musical theater canon. Black people have existed. We've talked to you about this. Black people continue to exist. So why are we not prevalent in these stories? Why are we omitted so many times? So I want to thank you for letting me get that out there. Today's episode is about the 1960s musical sensation. Wait, did you hear that? He called me funny girl. Here to give the synopsis is the world's favorite dramaturg, Colby Frederick.
Hi, everybody. Are you the pip with pizzazz? Are you all ginger and jazz? Well, if you are, you might be Fanny Brice, the real-life turn-of-the-century vaudevillian turned Broadway star. You may be familiar with the 1968 film adaptation of Funny Girl starring Barbra Streisand, but before it was a film, it was a stage musical on Broadway in 1964. The story loosely adapts the early life and career of Fanny Brice, a Jewish comedian who was known for her work in the Ziegfeld Follies on Broadway throughout the 1920s and 30s. Funny Girl chronicles her rise to stardom and her relationship with Nick Arnstein, a gambler who she fell in love with. As Fanny's star on Broadway grows brighter, Nick's begins to dim as he falls deeper into his gambling addiction. Fanny hopes that her love and support can see him through the hard times that he falls on, but only time will tell if love will be enough.
All right, it's time for the question. The question that I've posed every episode in some fashion or another. Does Fanny Brice have to be white?
So here's what we got. We do know that in real life, Fanny Brice was a white woman. We're aware of that. But in the actual libretto, there is no reference to the color of her skin at all. There are some remarks in song and in dialogue about some of her physical characteristics, so we'll just go through the list for that. Early on in the show, there's a song sung by her mother and her mother's friend, Mrs. Draykosh, called If a Girl Isn't Pretty. And in that song, there's some lines about Fanny, and one is about her nose with deviation, which just means that she doesn't have a cute little button nose that you typically see, and most people don't. There is also a line about her size, and they say that a girl must be a standard size that fits a standard dress if they want to be considered pretty and successful, and they're implying that Fanny does not fit that standard size. There is also a line about her boobs. The actual line is, if a girl's incidentals are no bigger than 2 lentils, and it is a reference to her boobs. And when she auditions for Keeney, the vaudevillian theater manager at the beginning of the show, he makes a remark as she's auditioning about her skinny legs and tells her that she sticks out from the chorus line. Eddie, one of her friends, has a line early on in the show that says, "The map of yours just ain't no Valentine," and it's a reference to her face and it not being stereotypically pretty. Halfway through the show, a duet between Fanny and Nick occurs, and in that song, he tells her, "You are smaller, so I can be taller than." And that is it. That is the rundown of the physical characteristics about Fanny Bryce in the musical Funny Girl.
As for Black people in the world of the show, I didn't know where to start, but here seems pretty good. Breaking news, but not actually. Black Jewish people exist. In 1995, the Alliance of Black Jews was founded by Robin Washington, Michelle Stein Evers, and Rabbi Caper C. Funyi Jr. They estimated that in 1995, there were about 200,000 Black Jews living in the U.S. alone. Some famous Black Jewish people include Sammy Davis Jr., Tracy Ellis Ross, Tiffany Haddish, Lenny Kravitz, Lisa Bonet, Rashida Jones, another list that could go on and on and on, which begs the question, why are we inclined to believe that Jewish people aren't Black? I'll give you a hint. It starts with anti and ends with blackness. Because Black people are what? Everywhere. And anti-Blackness is what? Global. In addition to that fact, the fact that Black Jewish people exist, Fanny Bryce also shared the stage with some prolific Black performers in her day, which would undermine questions of segregation on some of the stages that she took. One of the most famous shared bills was during her time with the Ziegfeld Follies, where the bill included Fanny Bryce, the famed Nicholas brothers, Bert Williams, and among others, the fabulous Josephine Baker.
And that is it for the dramaturgy portion. Thank you for joining us. We have loved having conversations like this for years, and we hope that we may spark a need for conversations like this in your own life.
And now we've come to that part of the show where I tell you why I want to play Fanny Bryce. But I'm not going to tell you that today. I don't have anything to say about why I want to play Fanny. So many people want to play Fanny. Instead, I'll take this time to talk about a Facebook comment that I received when I shared a video of Heather Headley performing the role in her high school production of Funny Girl. The person said that Heather was too beautiful to actually play Fanny. The thing is, people's obsession with her appearance is not nearly as insidious as how Fanny sees herself, particularly in the latter half of the show. Anti-Blackness works in a similar way to undermine the beauty and self-worth of Black people. Black people fight to believe in our own beauty and need for existence every day. It is an ongoing struggle. And if you need to see how early it begins, take a look at the Clark doll experiments. People deserve to see themselves as worthy and as a part of the communities they take part in. Since we've been talking about the Black Jewish experience, we've asked a group of women of this lived experience to sing the final song of our show this season. So, here to sing the music that makes me dance are Adena Walker, Tatiana Wexler, Emilie Battle, Lori Tishfield, Tsebiyah, Mishael, Derry, and Hannah Risser. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Until then, be safe and remember these 3 things. 1, skinny and white are not character traits. 2, Black people are everywhere. 3, anti-Blackness is global, and it is our global duty to dismantle it. That's it. Okay. Bye.
I add 2 and 2, the most simple addition, and swear that the figures are lying. I'm a much better comic than a mathematician, 'cause I'm better on stage than at intermission. As far as the man is concerned, if I've been burned, I haven't learned. I know he's around when the sky and the ground started ringing. I know he is near the thunder I hear in advance. His words alone are the words that can start my heart singing. And his is the only music that makes me dance. He'll sleep and he'll rise in the light of two eyes that adore him.
Bore him I might, but he won't lose my sight for a glance.